Hi, and welcome to this webinar on Smart Snacks in Schools. I'm Caitlin Fail, Child Nutrition Consultant with the Maine Department of Education. Today, we'll be talking about the requirements placed on the foods in schools can sell a la carte or foods offered for purchase outside of a reimbursable meal. These are called Smart Snack Standards. During today's webinar, all attendees will be placed on mute. At the end of the presentation, I will post my email address so that you can email me any questions that you may have. All right, now let's begin. Smart Snacks are a set of nutrition standards that apply to any food or beverage sold to students during the school day. The school day is defined as midnight the night before to 30 minutes after the school bell. So, if a school gets out at 2:30 p.m. and at 3 p.m. there's a basketball game, the concession stand would be able to sell non-Smart Snack compliant items because it is after the school day. Other exemptions are foods you're serving with your breakfast or lunch program as a part of a reimbursable meal. An example of this would be if you served a chicken burger on Monday as your main entree. On Tuesday, you would be allowed to sell the chicken burger a la carte or separate from the reimbursable meal, without having to check to see if it were compliant. Even if the foods are not provided through the school's nutrition program, let's say through a vending machine, say the vending machine is owned by the Boosters Club, not a part of the school nutrition program. The items in this vending machine would still need to meet Smart Snack standards. Smart Snack standards also apply to foods sold for fundraisers during the school day. Exceptions: if a vending machine was located in a teacher's lounge or anywhere that students do not have access, then they do not have to sell compliant items. So what are the nutrient guidelines for ingredients in Smart Snacks? When looking at the nutrition facts label, the first ingredient must be whole grain or have the first ingredient be a fruit or vegetable, or the food contains at least 1/4 cup of fruit. Calories on snack items, sodium, and sugar and fat also need to meet Smart Snack standards. Calorie limits for snacks are 200 and for entrees are 350 calories. Any food sold separate from the reimbursable meal needs to be Smart Snack standards. But if these items were a part of a reimbursable lunch or breakfast, then the entree items may be sold a la carte the day of or the day after service. For sodium limits, snack items can be no more than 200 milligrams and entrees can be no more than 480. Now here, where it goes beyond just looking at the nutrient facts label. Fat limits are based on percentages. The total fat of an item, whether it's an entree or snack, can be no more than 35% of its calories. The saturated fat can be no more than 10% of its calories, and all products are not allowed to contain trans fat. The following items are exempt from calculating ratios of calories to fat: reduced fat cheese, nuts, seeds, and nut butters, items consisting only of dried fruit with nuts and seeds, and seafood. And like fat, sugar is also determined by the ratio of weight to the product. And in this case, no more than 35% of the food's weight can come from sugar. some exemptions to sugar content are dried or dehydrated fruits or vegetables without sweeteners, dried and dehydrated fruits or vegetables with sweeteners that are often required in processing, like with cranberries and cherries, and then items that are consisting of only dried fruit with nuts and seeds with no other additional sweeteners. And then we have condiments. If a condiment is served with the food item, then the condiment's nutrition profile must be factored into the overall nutrition standards. So for example, if you're selling a mini bagel, offering it with cream cheese as a side, you would still have to factor in the cream cheese's overall amounts of calories, sodium, and fat. Now the good news is I have a web resource that I'm going to share with you that calculates all this for you. But just as a side, here's a slide that shows you how to calculate the percentages. Beverages. Smart Snacks also have standards for beverages. The beverage standard will vary by grade group. So elementary, middle school, and high school all have different standards. If you have more than one grade group in a school building, then you must use the guidelines for the more restrictive grade group. So if you're servicing a junior and senior high school, you must use the standards for the lower grade grouping. Let's take milk, for example. If it is sold in an elementary school, it cannot be more than 8 ounces. For middle and high school, it cannot be more than 12 ounces. This applies for all allowable fat and milk flavors in school service. If you have a combination elementary and middle school, you would only be able to sell the 8-ounce size. Juice. Juice must be 100% fruit or vegetable juice with or without carbonation. And just like milk, you have the 8-ounce serving size for elementary school and 12 ounces for middle and high school. Diluted juice. Diluted juice's definition is defined as 100% fruit or vegetable juice diluted with water with or without carbonation and with no added sweeteners. Diluted juice has the same serving size requirement as the full-strength juice. Water. Plain water, with or without carbonation, has no serving size limit for any grade group. But remember, it must be unflavored. Plain seltzer water would be compliant, but any flavored version would not be acceptable. And then we have the high school only low and no calorie beverages. Flavored low and no calorie beverages with or without caffeine or carbonation are allowed for high school grades only, 9 through 12. The definition of a low calorie beverage is 5 calories per ounce up to 12 ounces. So in other words, a 12-ounce beverage can be no more than 60 calories. A no calorie flavored beverage can be sold up to the size of 20 ounces. If the beverage is over 12 ounces and under 20, it is allowed to have up to 10 calories and still be considered a no-calorie beverage. And here's just a quick slide of everything I just went over with beverages. It gives you each grade grouping and the allowable beverages. I suggest printing this out and having it as a quick reference. And the same as the slide before with beverages, this is a Smart Snacks flowchart for any snacks or entree items you may have. It shows you what's allowable in each grade grouping and as well as the calories, sodium, and fat content allowed. But again, the calculator I'll show you in just a little bit is going to be much simpler than looking at this flowchart. So here's the website that you can find the Smart Snacks Calculator, the Alliance for Healthier Generation. This web resource also gives you a list of foods that are predetermined Smart Snacks compliant. So again, these are two really great resources to visit to see if your Smart Snacks are compliant. And just to note, the USDA does not approve individual foods or beverages like they do with CN labels. So even though a food may say Smart Snacks approved, it is still your responsibility to go through and make sure that it does indeed meet the standards. If you're making an item from scratch, there is a web resource for you through myplate.gov. It's called the Super Tracker. And what you do is you're going to enter your recipe in this website and it will let you know if it's compliant or not. So that's another good resource. All right. So on the screen right now, you're going to see Popcorner's Nutrition Facts label. So what I'm going to do is take a screenshot of this and I'm going to run it through the Smart Snacks calculator. So let's see if this link will go live for me. All right, so this is what the Smart Snacks calculator looks like. And down here, I'm going to get started. That Popcorner's snack was indeed a snack, so I'm going to click the snack button. And I do have a cheat sheet in front of me. Looking at the Nutrition Facts label, the first ingredient is yellow corn. So in this case, it's actually going to be a grain, just like a corn chip. So I'm going to say it's a whole grain. The serving size is 28 grams, so I'm going to hit 28 here. There's 1 serving per container. There are 130 calories. Total fat is 6 grams. Saturated fat is 0.5. Trans is 0. The sodium is 190. And the sugars are 2 grams. So let's see if this product was compliant. And it is not compliant. So what it's telling me is the total amount of calories exceeds the requirement for fat of the 35%. So that's just one way of seeing that how the Smart Snacks calculator works. And just because this one product was not compliant with the Popcorners, other products that they make may be. So if you have Smart Food or other products like that, you'd find that maybe some Smart Foods would meet while others do not. And that's why it's really important to make sure that you look at every single type of product that you will be selling. All right, let me get back to the PowerPoint. All right. So here we have the Smart Food Delight White Cheddar. I'm going to do the same thing, only instead of going live to the website, I've already put it in the PowerPoint. So it's a snack. It's a whole grain because popcorn is a whole grain. I'm going to fill out the Nutrition Facts label. And this one is not compliant either, but just so you know, there are some Smart Snacks compliant Smart Foods out there. All right, what about the NUTRIGRAIN bar? Serving size is 37 grams, calories are 120, total fat is 3 grams, saturated is 0.5, sodium is 125 milligrams, and there are 11 grams of sugar. The first ingredient is a whole grain, it's whole grain oats. So, does this meet? It's a snack, it's a whole grain. Gonna plug in the Nutrition Facts label, and it is compliant. So what I would do here is type in the brand name and the product, and then the first ingredient, and save this for your records. It's really important to save this for your records because when we come for a review, we will be looking at all the items that you're selling, and this is one way to document that what you're selling is compliant. All right, what about this? Don't be fooled. Even though the front of this package looks really healthy, it's kind of got that natural look. It says non-GMO, crispy wheat crackers. It looks to be compliant. But if you turn over to look at the nutrition facts label, you're going to see that the first ingredient is unbleached enriched flour, which means it's not a whole grain and won't be compliant. And here's another product. What about a jerky stick? So it's got 45 calories, 1.5 grams of fat, no saturated fat or trans fat, and the sodium is 200, sugar 0 with this meat. And I ran it through the calculator, and it does. So this is another one where you're going to type in the brand, the product, and the first ingredient. Now, I have found with other jerky sticks of the same company, there are some that do not meet. So again, this is why it's important that with every flavor, every different flavor that you get for products, you put it through the calculator. Now, what about diet soda? Say this is found in a vending machine at a high school. Does it meet? It's going to be a beverage. We're going to say it's being sold in a high school. It's considered an other flavor and or carbonated beverage. So it's not a milk product or a juice. It's going to be other flavored. The serving size is 12 ounces and there's only 5 calories. And it is going to be compliant for high school only. Because remember, they're the only ones that are allowed to have flavored waters or carbonated beverages. Everybody else is just allowed the milk or juice. Posting calories. So if you're in a school and you have a vending machine that's out in front of your serving window, or you have a little snack stand next to your POS system, all of those snacks need to have their calories posted nearby. So even if a student can physically pick up that bag of chips and turn it over and look to see what the calories are, you still need to post separately from that product the calories, and it needs to be readily available. So it needs to be nearby and where the student can see it. So most often we see on vending machines, there's a little piece of paper that's taped to the front of it, giving every product that's in that vending machine and the calories posted. And even if you as a food service manager or director are not in charge of that vending machine, say it's owned by the boosters, it is still your responsibility to make sure that the calories are posted. And then advertising. So for advertising, where brand-specific advertising for any foods or beverages that do not meet Smart Snacks standards are prohibited in school buildings. So if I am in a school and I see a vending machine that has like a cappuccino flavored drink on the side of a vending machine, or sometimes we see just Mountain Dew or a non-compliant full calorie soda, that's not going to be compliant. Even if it says Pepsi Cola, not necessarily going to be compliant. Most often we see in schools are water or water-like products that are compliant. So you may need to make sure that anytime that you're getting a new vending machine in or a new scoreboard, that whatever product is on the side is going to meet Smart Snacks standards for your grade groups in the school. So if you have any questions with Smart Snacks, you are more than welcome to email me. My email is caitlin.fail@maine.gov. We have more webinars and trainings available on our website, which I've linked here. If you email me any questions, I'll be more than happy to put them out on the Thursday update with Sandy. So that concludes our training on Smart Snacks. Thank you for joining. I'll leave this up here for just a minute. I would also like to add that if you registered for today's webinar, you will be sent your training certificate through email. And if you didn't register but you're looking on or attending this with somebody else who did register, if you want to get that training hours, just simply sign your name next to the training certificate that we send out, and that's good documentation. All right, thank you very much.